Sauce.
Hey, you like Pez?
It looks like that. Here's Heaney from the boundary line. He's an expert at these. From the boundary line!
Hello and welcome to Behind the Boundary podcast. I'm your host Pez. I'm here with Sauce, and we've just finished a massive ANZAC Day weekend. Sauce, round 6 complete and the ladder starting to take shape.
I thought round 7 had already started, didn't we? Didn't we play football just yesterday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
It was a long round.
Wow, it was a big long round, and never complaining 5 days straight of football. But it seemed like the round went forever. Imagine if they did have Thursday night football.
Yes, exactly. We were saying we wanted Thursday night footy, and the reason, we gave them a pass this week because there was Tuesday, but this week coming up, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, only 3 days of footy. It's going to be a little bit different.
Watch me complain next Thursday that I'm withdrawn from football. Like 4 days of footy, what's that?
You got to at least have 4 days of footy. I think 4 days is perfect. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you've got the start of the week.
Bring back the 30 games in 17 days, or what is it?
The
40 days in 40 games in 40 nights.
I think it was 20 and 20, but we can take that, but without the COVID from that.
Yeah, of course. Let's leave the COVID there and just get the footy back.
Yeah, some massive results, and one of them being on ANZAC Day, because the Bombers took it up to Collingwood and were leading by 28 points at three-quarter time, and Collingwood were able to steamroll over the top to win by 13 points.
Yeah, it's definitely a knee-jerk reaction from the game, but Essendon looked really good for 3 quarters, and they got overrun and overpowered, but the momentum that the Collingwood Army brings, it's incredible. That ground would have been absolutely rocking. On TV, it was incredible. But
there was push and shove before the game, and big ceremony beforehand. There were people there from midday even before, and it's always really good the way they do that since the inception of it in '95. But with the pushing and shoving, you had the Collingwood fans going at it, the Essendon fans going at it, and then there was a bit of a brawl at quarter time. Well, we can't say brawl; it's not like the olden days, but a bit of push and shove and jumper grabbing and jumper punches. And Collingwood fans just decided to go the old Collingwood and do that, because they usually only do it at the end of the game when they're up by a shitload. But it was interesting to hear it in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, the second biggest home crowd ever, 99,000 was the original one, the big one, and it got pretty damn close, Pez. So it was pretty incredible. What was good is that we ask so much of our AFL players to bring personality. And there was personality galore. There was celebrations. There was push and shoves. There was shushes to the crowd. There was, do you know what was pulled out, Pez? The old forks. The old forks. Did you see that one with the guy on the sideline? He had the ball out there, getting it for who was it for? Was it for
Langford?
Langford. And Langford, he puts it out there, and as he goes there, drops it, and then gives him the old the old heave ho, and then he kicks the goal, and he just points.
Yeah.
And then the forks.
You know what's funny about that? Did you like that from the supporter?
Yeah.
You didn't think it was in bad taste or anything?
Nah, it was playful.
Yeah, throw the ball away. There was an older woman, they said a grandmother, did it in Adelaide the other week as well. They threw the ball away from the opposition player.
I thought his was really playful though, just the deadpan look.
Maybe not the FU, but the
hand out. That the second part was a little bit over the top. I thought he was at the Freo game going for the.
He actually made a TikTok account. I don't know if you saw it. Just to put a video up there. And he put his reaction to
him doing it.
So he was like, oh yeah. And then Laverde kicks the goal and points to him. And then I don't know if you put the final score up or something. It was just stuff US. And then we.
But it was great, Pez. It was an ANZAC Day to remember. Everyone was sitting around watching it where I was watching, and it was a breathtaking game. We had Collingwood supporters and Essendon supporters, and it was good. But the fear from the Essendon supporters going to that last quarter, knowing Collingwood have had a habit of doing this, they made their comeback. They left there, at the right time, and Collingwood again escape a close game and a come from behind victory.
2 things I've got for you, and this is I heard it today, people speaking, and it wasn't just random people. It was people who actually have a job in football and speak about this, and they said if they're playing against Collingwood at three-quarter time, they would rather be 10 points up instead of 28 points up like Essendon were. And I'm sitting there thinking, what exactly? And then I thought they were joking. And then they started to agree with each other. Yeah, I'd much rather be going into the fourth quarter only 10 points up. And I'm thinking, are you mental or what? I would much rather a 28-point lead. I'd much rather an 11-point lead than a 10-point lead. Like, it's ridiculous. You take what you can get.
You're exactly right, Pez. And obviously, it's a great belief that the Collingwood players have, and that they know that whatever the margin is, they're going to come back. But if that's the belief that you're playing with the opposition, of course I want to be up with by a lot more than 11 points.
It's ridiculous.
That's so ridiculous. Imagine going into the three-quarter time huddle and be one of the coaches going, "Hey, we're 30 up. Can you just let the umpire know that we're going to forfeit 4 goals? Just go back.
Even better.
Hey, mate, we'd rather be up by 6.
4 minutes to go in the fourth. Send the runner out. Tell them leak a couple of goals. Just give the opposition a couple of goals. We'd rather be 10 points.
That is going to be the most ridiculous statement, Pez. And we've heard some interesting ones going around, but that's ludicrous.
It is ludicrous. We don't need to speak any more about that. But
you've given it enough airtime.
Anzac Day medalist Nick Daicos, 2 goals, 40 disposals. There's been a lot of debate actually about Nick Daicos and his influence on games and things like that as a young up-and-coming player, probably favourite for the Brownlow medal. What's your thoughts on Nick Daicos?
What thoughts on his performance or thoughts on him as overall?
Him as a player?
I think his influence on the game is, I think that I heard a really good point today. I think the Collingwood backline and the way that they utilise him in that midfield, they utilise him perfectly. And I think that he is a product of a great midfield around him and, some great leadership from their older fellas. But he uses the football well. He leaks up the ground. He definitely allows his opponent to make him accountable. He just leaves him and leaks off him. Yeah, you've got to tag him. I believe. It'll be interesting what they do this week. Adelaide's already come out and said that they're gonna tag him. Keys is gonna have the job on him, and I just think that on his performance on Anzac Day. He was the Anzac Day medalist. You could make arguments for a couple other players, but it was pretty tight. 40 disposals. With
those 2 goals.
2 goals, in crucial times, bang. But him as an overall footballer, I mean, he's great. He's contributing to their wins. He is, he's doing the right thing that what Collingwood need him to do.
And you know what he is? He's a Daicos, and every Daicos player that has played has been super skillful. Yeah. And that's what he is, and that's why they want the ball in his hands, and that's why they get it to him. And
you look when they win, sorry to interrupt, but when they actually have a contested football, he's not in there getting the contested footy. That's fine, but at the moment they get clear, they're looking for him. And they hit him because they know he uses the football well, but most of all, they know he continues on running.
Oh, and they do the 1-2s.
His work rate is amazing.
The 1-2s that he gets, and that's why he gets so many disposals.
And purposeful 1-2s as well.
Yeah, purposeful. Sometimes he gets 3 in the chain and will go down and absolutely kick a goal.
And they look fantastic. Boom, boom, boom.
But there's salty supporters out there that have actually said, he's no good. He just gets the cheap disposals. He, runs out of the goal square and gets the disposal from there. But what I'm saying is, if he can do that, any player in the AFL can do that. If you're going to get 20 cheap disposals, why doesn't every single player or the best kick on every team do that? Because they don't.
Yeah, it's funny because they say they're cheap disposals. And let's say he had 40. Let's say 10 of them are cheap, because I don't believe that over half of his disposals were cheap. I think a lot of them were, as you said, in those chains. He was quite often the connecting kick. If you're looking at the hockey assist, he was the kick before the kick in the forward entrance. And as a supporter base and as in the media, they continually analyse this sort of stuff and pick apart things. And what makes it cheap? I don't understand what makes it cheap.
Cheap. I'll tell you what a cheap disposal is, and it's teams like Fremantle from years ago when they were really defensive, and they were kicking it switch to the other side, switch back, and their defenders had 30 disposals and 20 marks because they were just kicking it back and they weren't actually attacking. But when Nick Daicos gets the ball, he attacks. If he passes it sideways, he runs forward and he continues to attack every single time. So he's a very valuable, rightly so, the number 1 contender for the Brownlow medal this year. And teams will have to start looking at him very closely to see what they can do.
It'll be interesting this week with the Adelaide. They've already come out and said it. And it's the constant question is, do you tag him? Do you tag him? And I think that if Essendon had possibly tagged him, stopping him getting the pill 40 times and having a lot of those forward entries, and a lot of them is just when he bursts, kick out to the side of the wing and then continuing up the guts, as you said. They could have contained him, and maybe they could have stopped him coming back from 20 so points up.
I know it's not the Nick Daicos show, but really good move by Craig McRae, who I think is a wonderful coach. Moved him up forward in the last quarter, and he wasn't accountable for any opponent, and he could just run anywhere he wanted to, and he knows where the ball's going to be, and that's why he had such a big influence in that last quarter.
And as you said, he's a Daicos. You see it with his brother and his old man. They are skillful, and every time he picks up the ball, it seems to just somehow like, you know when you have like those magnets with little toys and it just like, boom, the football goes into the right thing, laces side, facing the roof, boom, straight away. And it seems to just have a great disposal. It's natural. It's unbelievable.
So absolutely fantastic.
So the end of the Daicos show? Or?
End of the Daicos show. And
we've never spoken about Collingwood ever that long.
And praise them that highly. And
they look good.
They're a dangerous side coming back like that. Darcy Moore as well needs a mention because he played a brilliant game and had an absolute brilliant speech as the captain of the Collingwood Football Club as well.
Darcy Moore, they've made some amazing decisions, but listening to him speak, because he doesn't look like he can speak that well, hearing those words and how much thought had gone into that, and to be able to do that off the cusp, like I know a lot of prep had gone into it, but wow, we're super impressed. Really impressed.
In front of 95,000 or however many were left, 77,000 left or whatever it was. So well done to them and well done to the Monday night as well, because that Melbourne-Richmond, that's become a thing, Anzac Day Eve as well, which was just, kind of plucked out of midair years ago, and now it's actually a thing because 83,000 people on a Monday night, Anzac Day Eve, went to the footy. So I was like, when I saw that number, I was like, wow, that is absolutely huge.
170,000 in 2 days. The MCG, the groundskeepers did really well to continue to clean up that. That's a mammoth task. But you're right, Pez, it was quite an entertaining game of football, and it's a shame that Richmond couldn't execute in that last quarter to make it a little bit closer, because they just seemed to butcher a range of opportunities. They could have been up by a lot more earlier, but again, their goal kicking is their demise.
Yeah, you could see the writing on the wall in that third quarter when it's like, are Melbourne actually going to come? Are they going to come? And they ended up coming with 5 goals in the last quarter. It was ridiculous. But as you said, Richmond did have their chances, kicking a lot of behinds in that fourth quarter. Not much else to say. It was a pretty easy round for, say, tipping and things like that, because there wasn't any results that really surprised. I think one that a lot of people got wrong might have been the Fremantle on the Friday night, where the Bulldogs won by 49 points and absolutely dominated in that game, and Fremantle look to be finished.
Yeah, they do look to be finished, Pez, and definitely not the team we saw last year. Whether they've worked things out, whether they've tried to win a premiership too early with Jackson coming into that side and doing a bit of a shuffle. And I mean, you can't say no when a player wants to come of his caliber. But it's really disappointing for Fremantle to give away a victory like that at home against a Western Bulldogs team who, well, realistically, they have been a bit up and down, and that should be an easy place in the fixture for Fremantle to circle a win.
Well, the most disappointing thing about Fremantle's season is 2 years ago, they were super defensive and they were really hard to play against. Their offense wasn't that great. And then last year, in 2022, they decided to go, you know what, we're going to focus more on our offense, but we're going to keep that defensive structure there. And I think they had a good balance, and they finished in the finals. They could have finished top 4. And then the start of this season, that defense has fallen away by the wayside. They're just chasing, and they're not actually setting up, and they don't have that structure because they're so worried about the focal point down the line. Like they want to look for Jackson, and he's the $1 million man. He's going to be our savior, but they just don't have the cattle in the forward line anymore, and the defense has fallen away.
But what made them good as a defensive unit is, as you said, they used to swing the ball from left to right to find the offensive move, and then like a chess player would go and attack. Very calculated. But they're not even defending marking contests. Like Hugo Hagan on Friday night, he had so many just open leads and uncontested marks in his forward line.
And he was working hard, obviously, but you don't get a 10-metre lead.
Pearce, who was playing, I think he might have been playing. I'm a little bit unsure, but as their captain, he too many times he was so far off him, really disappointing, because it's obviously not a one-on-one battle that they play. They play a team defense, and they have a structure within their defense, and that's what made them quite effective a couple of years ago. But to have so many mismatches, and like what was so evident on Friday night was they would already have a forward entry about the 45-metre mark, and boom, a little chip kick, 30 metres out. Little chip kick, 25 metres out. They'd have 2 or 3 passes inside their 50 against a defensive juggernaut that they were 2 years ago. Not good enough, disappointing. And I don't know how you fix it, because they need to fix it quickly, otherwise McRae's going to be out of a job.
Well, not McRae, Longmuir.
Longmuir's out of a job, sorry. You said McRae before.
I said McRae before as a good thing, because he's one of the best coaches in the business. Yeah. But Fremantle in trouble. But we'll keep on round 6.
We forgot about one thing. I thought you were about to move on, but we forgot about the big one, Pez. I know you talked about Fremantle Western Bulldogs being a tip that a lot of people got wrong, but the Carlton versus St Kilda game, probably game of the round leading into that, very close favourites, $2 versus 180, and St Kilda, they moved to 5-1, Pez. And I know you've kept the lid on. I'm a little bit unsure actually if you've kept the lid on, but you've been very quiet over there. You tried to push it under the table.
Oh, I'm not.
Lid's off.
Not going to speak about it. The lid is not off by any stretch of the imagination. I think, they made the tough call on Brett Ratton last year, and it's
we're bringing it back, Pez.
It's turned out to be the absolutely right call because Ross Lyon and what he brings, and I think he's actually break from the game as well and going into the media and then coming back. He's a lot more relaxed. He's been on the mic this week on Fox Sports.
It's good to listen to.
He's great to listen to, and the players love him. And we know that from Fremantle players and the St Kilda players that used to play for him over a decade ago. And he's just got them playing really well defensively. But the thing that he's changed in a decade is he's got them attacking. And when they turn that ball over, they go forward and they attack. And they might not score super highly and they still keep their teams low, but they're just attacking. And if they turn the ball over inside forward 50, that's fine because they're set up behind the ball and they're ready to structure up again and get that turnover.
But the rebound, their rebound rate, Pez, inside in 50s, they're third in the league at 83 opportunities per game, I guess, is where they absolutely turn defense into offense off a turnover and they go. And one of the problems with Ross previously is they would get that turnover and it would automatically go straight down the side.
Yep.
Boom. Let's set up our structure. Let's chess piece our way through, get an open shot. And now they're just running and going. What have they got to lose? Bang through. And it brings some eyes. This win was fantastic for St Kilda fans and with the amount of injuries that they've got and the list but it brings some bigger issues, I think, from this game. It is Carlton. With that list that they've got the last Brownlow medalist, the last two Coleman medalists, and they haven't scored over 100 points this year.
All-Australian calibre defender, fullback.
I heard a really good analogy today is that if you were picking between St Kilda and Carlton, and you're looking at their list, and you're doing schoolyard, where you pick one person and the next person, it'd be about pick 11 or 12 before a St Kilda bloke gets a mention, which is probably true, Pez. And that's incredible for the amount of talent, and Voss is going to be under the pump because, again, he's not seemed to be implementing anything. Well, talent alone doesn't win football games.
No, it doesn't. You need that structure. And Ross Lyon, he did a number on Michael Voss and beat him yet again. You look at the top 6 disposal getters on the ground, Carlton players. All Carlton players in a loss. The highest St Kilda player there is Sinclair with 27. Every other player above him is Carlton, had 28 or more, with 4 of them having 34 or more. So they're just getting the possessions in the middle of the ground, having to go sideways, having to go backwards, and then having to bomb the ball down the line. And St Kilda were defending really, really well. They had Curnow on lockdown with Wilkie. Wilkie is one of the number one defenders probably in line for All-Australian this year because he's finally been noticed. So, he's just humming along nicely. They've got a big challenge against Port Adelaide at home tomorrow.
Big game tomorrow.
So if they can get to 7-1, they might even get to 9-1 by the end of round 10. And you'd think that they might be able to play finals.
Look at you, the cautious St Kilda fan. No team has missed the 8, 5-1 since 19. What was it, 52 or something? And you're sitting there going, all right, if we can get to 12-1, we might be a shot.
Funny thing you say that. I'm not the cautious St Kilda supporter. It's every single St Kilda supporter because of what we've been through. All right,
just St Kilda supporter equals caution, doesn't it? Really, Pez. But it was a great round of footy, Pez, and it was as you said, it was a little bit stock standard. We had some great stories come out of it, but one of the biggest stories to come out of it was we're about to talk about in the betting review.
Soft review, it's no official review. How does it end? We don't know. They've kind of lost, but they've won as well.
Easily the biggest story, Pez, is my winnings up until Anzac Day.
Well, let's have a look at it. Both in the profit again, which was good. Turning the season around nicely. We'll start off with Fremantle and the Bulldogs. I had McRae for 25 plus. He got that. The under 190 and James Aish for 20 plus. And I had a couple of stats to back it up. A couple of people online have been saying Will Brodie was back and things like that. But in one of those games that I said about the stats, Will Brodie actually played in round 2 as well. So there's different things there. But Aish, I think he spent the most time on camera.
He was around the pillar
without actually touching the pill. He was that player that was in the middle of the kick. You know that juniors player that doesn't know where to stand and they're just in between the kick right in the middle, and he was there. So it was very frustrating to watch if you backed Aish for 15.
Very frustrating to watch because you're sitting there.
He only got 11 in the end.
Give it to him. He's there. He's right there. He's right there. Boom, over the top.
And every time he had the chance to get the handball, they went the other way. It was amazing, but
There's one of them I remember that he wanted to get the connecting hands, the 1-2, and he's yelling, but you're yelling way harder than he was yelling for the pill, and he was giving it a fair crack, but just couldn't get that one, Pez, unlike my nice little bet. So I had 3 players, the same game multi with sports bet, 15 for O'Meara, and he looked like he was going to get about 30 in the first quarter, and then he slowed right down. I had Clark to get 20. He did that pretty easily. 15 to get that, and he ended up 20, 25 plus. And then the last one was Caleb Daniel, and he despite my prediction of playing out back in the way that they were playing, master move up forward, and I copped a lot of flack, Pez, a lot of flack for him moving up forward, but I don't understand because all 3 of them hit. He got his over 20, $2.05, 2 units won.
You copped flack for him moving forward, but
imagine if
it was after the game and the bet won.
The bet won. Imagine if they played him at back. Well, like I said, he would have got 50.
He actually got 55% of his disposals in the back line still.
Yeah, I know.
He still went down there
Pez,
to help
he was
out.
playing up forward.
Oh, he was, and they've moved him up forward because.
And where did he get most of his possessions?
Jason Johannesson has come back into the team,
Yep.
and they can't have them both back down there. As
And
small
it's
defenders.
a good move. It's similar to what they're doing with Daicos. They're
tried-
pushing him up the ground
they
and
tried
using him for
Johannesson.
his kick. Yep.
They tried him up forward, didn't work.
Doesn't work.
So Caleb Daniel, he's got a beautiful kick on him.
But he's not actually playing forward to kick goals. He's in there for a forward entry, and he's as you said, getting most of his connecting possessions out back. But anyway, we're not going to talk all night about my wins because we'd be here all day.
We'll
Otherwise,
talk about the next one, Port Adelaide versus West Coast. So I had I had a few stats to back this one up, and I said Finlayson 3+ goals. Finlayson anytime goal scorer at Port Adelaide ML. That was just for insurance source. And this bet was done like 5 or 6 minutes into the second quarter where Finlayson already had his 3. I did get a bit of feedback on TikTok, which was fantastic.
But he's going to play ruck, Pez.
Lyset was out, so he was going to play ruck, but Lyset wasn't replaced by a 204 centimetre ruckman, which you're not going to play.
So you're
Finlayson
telling me
over
the
here.
guy that they brought in, the 200 centimetre player, they played him in the ruck, did they?
They did play him in the ruck. He played quite well as well.
Play quite well, actually.
And Finlayson ended up kicking 5, and the cheeky that I suggested at
you did?
$13.
Does that count? We'll put that on?
Oh, I might as well put it on. No, I mean,
Cheeky!
There we go.
get the cheeky out there. So $13 hit at the 5+ as well. So that was very handy.
Very handy. We're not counting the cheeky, are we? Though?
No, it's not. It's not
Okay.
there, Sauce. You can see that.
All right. So I had 3 legs in my multi. I was with Neds. I had Dan Houston to get 15 or more, and he struggled. He looked good early. I was on pace, and then he just faded away towards that last quarter. Couldn't get a touch. He missed out by 1. I had Burton. Burton absolutely dominated. I was all over him. I said that he took most of those kickouts. He was all over the ground. He was in every connecting
He
hand
kicked a
pass.
couple of goals. So
He looked good.
he moved forward?
He was
that your mistake?
He was everywhere, Pez. Any player that I back this week, back him for getting handballs in the back line, anytime goal scorer and clean up, and then the 35.5.
They won by 40. They struggled
that was
to do
in
that.
doubt in there. So, but I got away with a bonus bet, Pez.
Yep.
So I get that back in 2 units. So loving that one.
Yep, so you use that this week. I went on Geelong Sydney, and I went the tab 5-leg same game multi. I had a Sydney goal scorer in there in McDonald, which wasn't too good when they only kicked 5 goals. And this game absolutely turned to shit in the first quarter because Sydney ended up losing by 90 odd points, and the disposals were just nowhere to be seen. So missed out on that one and then lost myself a unit.
Yeah, you did, Pez. In the next one, I didn't have a bet in that one. We had the GWS Brisbane one. Thank you to Trendbetter at Trendy, or at Trendbetter, I think his tag is. He absolutely delivered with the news. O'Haran, he got 15 plus.
Should have had him for 3 goals.
Should have. He looked, Jesus Christ.
Easy. You know what it is?
And do you know what? He was playing out back too.
It's easy. It is so easy to say things after the game, isn't it?
It is.
In hindsight, I could.
You should have heard
I could tell you what bets.
all the bets I
played.
should have placed. Jesus, would have been great. Will Ashcroft to get 20 and Dunkley to get 20 as well. So that was my bonus bet, Pez, from the week before. 2 units, 375. That was a great little profit of 275 for me, and definitely helped me out in getting up. So that's that
was handy.
2 out of 3 hits early.
That was handy. And my GWS Brisbane, I didn't have one in the pre-show or in last week's show, but I put my bonus from Friday night on it, and I really, really liked it. I had Kelly for 25, Brisbane to win by 10 or more, Ashcroft and Whitfield for 15 plus, and those 3 players got that really, really easily. Brisbane ended up winning by 20, but Lockie Neal, just not much to be seen. He wasn't able to get the job done with his 25 disposals.
First time this year.
he just wasn't there, and it hurt me a little bit. That was a $3 get, and that little bonus would have been handy. But lost the bonus and lost that 1 unit from the Friday night.
Yeah, speaking of 1 unit, Pez, I lost 1 unit with Neds. I had the over 164.5, and that it looked good late. It looked like I was going to get home like the week before in that last quarter, but not to be. Rory Laird, I was on the right Rory this week. He got his 25 plus. Jordan Dawson absolutely dominated again, keeps his presidency alive. But your man Ben Keys, another forward who's let me down, Pez. Midfielder gone forward.
Yeah,
Keys, he struggled around the ball. Staying off him this week, obviously doing a tag this week. But yeah, loss of 1 unit there, Pez.
Oh, did you bet the over? You should have bet the under, mate.
No.
in hindsight, yeah.
Under Ben Keys.
I threw out a live bet in this, and I really liked it.
I liked it as well, Pez.
I really, really liked it.
I jumped on the third quarter one as a personal, but lucky.
So in the first quarter, Adelaide dominated. I was watching the game with intent. 2 goals 3 to 2 goals 1, so they're only 2 points up. And I thought this is going to turn because Adelaide are absolutely motoring, going over the top here. I was like, yep, -5.5 second quarter line, call up Sportsbet, make the thing, do the screenshot, put it up. And they started off really well. And I thought, yep, we're going to get this. And then when Hawthorn kicked a goal to put them less than 6 points up for the quarter, they both ended up getting 3 goals. Adelaide 3 goals 4. They were very, very costly in front of goals early in that quarter to Hawthorn 3 goals 3. So I lost that one there, which wasn't good at all.
No, not good at all, Pez. It wasn't good for me on my personal either. I followed along for you last time I do that, Pez.
You didn't follow along. You said you went on the third quarter.
I liked your thinking, though, so I agreed with what happened. I thought Adelaide were going to prevail. But anyway, in my next bet, I didn't have anything in the Melbourne-Richmond game, Pez, but it looks like you had another live bet.
Yeah, so I should have pulled the trigger earlier because...
Second quarter.
in the third quarter, I thought, you know what, it's nearly even money here. Melbourne are a little bit down. Richmond do struggle to keep a lead. They've showed it against the Bulldogs. They've showed it in multiple games this year. And I just thought Melbourne were really good there. I was going to go the line, which ended up being -4.5. But I just thought, you know what, play something safe. I think Melbourne will get the win. Just chuck 2 units out there and go from there. Get the unit back from the day before, and I'll just take that.
Should have doubled down on the fourth quarter line, Pez, because they blew away in that fourth quarter.
Exactly. So the fourth quarter line was 6.5 when they were down by 2. And the normal line was 4.5 because they'll, match up. So I could have gone either way.
It's one of those things that if you're confident in a team to come back like you were with Melbourne, we said that Richmond had a tendency to fade away late. That you can actually do that play. Like if you had third quarter line, Pez, and you lost that one, or second quarter line, boom, you double down. And if you're trusting that's going to win, and you think they're going to get the chocolates because the head to head would be lower, but your line's always about $1.90, and it normally works out pretty good.
Yeah. So something for the listeners, if anyone is into, say, NBA betting, especially in the playoffs,
great markets.
You have a watch of the game, and your team can go down, and it fluctuates. Sauce.
No, not everyone follows Minnesota like us, Pez. Not every team goes down 40 in a playoff game.
Some teams go down 10 plus,
yeah, they do.
And then you can get a really good head-to-head price on them. Same thing can happen in AFL. Like with Adelaide, it didn't quite work out for me this time, but instead of placing Adelaide $1.19 beforehand, you decide the second quarter line at $1.90. Even though the bet lost, still a bit of value in it, and there's a little bit of a strategy to it that you can continue to do in the AFL season.
Yeah, a little bit of strategy. I love that, Pez, giving the listeners a little bit of extra value on top of your shit tips. All right, we get on to Anzac Day and the Collingwood Essendon 1, Pez, and Sportsbet had out their free hit special, so I jumped all over that. I had Will Setterfield to get 20 or more, and tell you what, Pez, first quarter looking great. All of them had 7. Oh, sorry, I had Caldwell as well to get 15 and Martin to get 20 from Essendon.
Yeah.
They all had 7, half-time, looking brilliant. I looked at my cash out. It was about $86, you little ripper. And then slowly hit and refresh. Oh, lower.
Yeah.
Failed by 1, Pez. Nick Martin got busy too late in that last quarter.
Did he?
Only got the 19, but the other 2 got theirs. So
Bonus
I
for this
escaped
week?
with another bonus, Pez. And if it's anything like last week, I make good worth of them.
Similar story with my bet as well, actually. I had 4 players to get 20 plus. Tom Mitchell, tick. McGrath, tick. Pendlebury, tick. Dylan Shield, 9 disposals in the first quarter.
Ugh.
Only needed 11 in the final 3.
Only needed 11.
He was stuck on 16 for a very, very long time in that third quarter, and then into the fourth as well. He got 3 touches pretty much in a row in that fourth quarter, and in the last minute and a half, he needed 1 more, and couldn't get it done. So I'll take the bonus, and I'll try and win something this week.
But overall, Pez, another successful winning round for both of us, Pez. First in a while you've done a winning round there, Pez.
No, not quite. I've won rounds 4, 5, and 6. So that's three.
I said it in a while. 4, 5, and 6.
That's 3 in a row.
No, you didn't win last week, did you?
Yeah, well, I
You did too. My bad.
big win, and then round 4, another big win.
I was looking at your overall because you're still down overall. But anyway, round 6 summary. I had 5 units, returned 0.85. A little bit disappointing that I threw 2 units away on that Monday, but I'll make that back this week in a bonus. Overall for the year, up 3.65 units from 38 goes at it.
No, you take any profit you can get is
I
good
love
profit.
that. Hey, 3 points there this early in the season.
With the live bets that went out there, Sauce, and a couple of others, 8 units staked and escaped with a 0.28 profit. So I'll take the profit.
Hey, green is green.
Not a great round in hindsight with an RO of 3.5%. Stake 45 units for the year and a minus 1.83. So hoping to get into that green with you coming into this week.
The fact that the size of the bets was relatively small.
Now Bex with an opportunity about 50 metres out.
I was with a mate and we were getting sort of ready to leave, and he said, I think I'm going to whack 10 on Maxi. Do you want some as well? And I said,
Oh, yes!
Well, I'm really looking forward to this, Pez. Another week of profit. 4, 5, and 6. Let's make it week 7 and start things off with the specials.
Cyril takes a special and goes bang.
Yeah, well, Sportsbet have brought it back for the Friday night game, St Kilda versus Port Adelaide, 2-leg same game multi special. If any legs fail, you can have all legs fail. You get a bonus bet back up to $50, so we can take that. The one that I really like this week is Tab. They've got the 3+ leg same game multi, 1 leg fails, you get a bonus bet back. They've got that on every game. Very important though, has to be $2 odds for the whole multi, and no leg can be under $1.10. So there is a lot of disposal markets out there under $1.10, so they can't be included. You can also have 5+ legs if you need to get it above that $2, and up to 2 legs can fail as well. Lads have the 3-leg same game multi as well, but only 1 refund per day. So be really careful about that, especially on the Saturday when there are multiple games there. They've also got the mega multi with the AFL 4+ legs. If 1 leg fails, you can get a bonus back. And it looks like there is, some really big favourites this week that will be able to do that. And then Neds have the 12+ halftime early payout if you like that as well. What do you dickhead, what's that?
You like it? The old Pez special.
The Pez special?
Yeah.
Oh, Pez special. You're going to wear that shirt every week?
I'm going to wear the Pez special. You like it? Especially for the show. Here we go. After you had a winning week, Pez, I thought I'd have to get it.
You didn't even know 3 in a row.
No, it's fine. I'm fine. For the listeners at home, I've just revealed to us one of the new purchases for Behind the Boundary that you can get at home, the old Pez exclusive shirt. And Pez, the first time you've seen it, talk through the listeners what they're saying.
The little Pez dispenser.
Very ugly.
Looks like a hat. Yeah, ugly looking fella there with... instead of little Pez lollies coming out, it looks like there's some cash coming out.
Dollar bills, yo.
So hopefully that represents what's going to happen in round 7. That looks very nice.
Looks nice and tasty for the Pez.
Nice and white, nice and brand new. You got a sauce one?
Nah, I got one for you though. There you go.
Oh, beautiful. We'll have to put that on.
Put that on right now. Here we go. Well, while you're stripping off, and tell you what, TikTok, if we don't get some hits with this, here we go. Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh,
The chest today.
Are you wearing an undershirt there? Or is that your hair chest? Jesus Christ. Let's get into the first game of round 7. Pez, get that shirt on quickly because you'll be excited to talk about your Saints. We've got St Kilda taking on Port Adelaide. Huge game. $1.47 favourites are your Saints. 264 outsiders at the power. Minus 12.5 is the line. Over under 165.5. Pez, you're fully dressed now. You're prepared.
Yeah, what'd you say?
What'd you say? I just wanted you to talk me through the Saints, Pez. I'm very excited for this Friday night clash.
Yeah, no, the Saints are playing well. We've got some changes in the game. Dixon's coming back in, and we know that Marshall got concussed last week, so he's not going to be able to play. Membry was a big in last week for St Kilda, so he'll continue to be the number 1 forward for them as well this week. Not much else to say. I think they really, put a stranglehold on Port Adelaide at Marvel, and they make it really hard for them to move the ball forward. So I think St Kilda aren't going to demolish sides, and I could come to eat my words on that one, but I'm going with the Sportsbet bonus special in this one here, Sauce, and probably only putting the bet down because there is a special down, and I've tried to get some value. So Saints 1-39 to go there by itself, that as one leg. Tim Membry, second game back, anytime goal scorer. So he had 1 goal 2 last week in his first game of the season. And looking back at Port Adelaide, all the main forwards against Port Adelaide, like all the key position forwards, have kicked goals this year against them. So looking good there for Tim Membry. And Bradley Hill for 15 plus. His lowest is 19 this season. And under the roof at Marvel, he's had 21, 22 and 21. With Ross Lyon, they need to use Brad Hill. And with Ratton, it didn't always happen. And Hill, sometimes finished on 12 and 13 disposals. But it seems with Ross Lyon, he's a really good kick and he's really part of them going forward. So Bradley Hill for 15 as well. Those three, all up 275.
Yeah, I like it, Pez. We used to talk about they needed to use him better, going through that middle, but it seemed rather than just him go and get the pill and win it, Ross is actually using him a lot better, and again, utilising that kick of the footy. In AFL, what are you laughing at? You're laughing at your own face there, seeing it, are you?
No, I didn't see it. No, just
stop checking me out there. I'm trying to work out why you're looking at my nipples. It's because your head's there, isn't it? A little bit of fig jam from you. All right. Well, I like what you said earlier, Pez, about St Kilda giving away heaps of possessions. They're the number one team in the league for giving away possessions. They give away almost 400 per game, 22 more than any other team in the league. And the next two from that is the Kangaroos and the Hawks. So a little bit of a concerning stat when you look at the way they're giving it away. But as you said, that's because they've changed the way that they're rebounding the footy. So I like that. But what I also like more is the fact that despite them winning games, St Kilda, one thing you can guarantee is that the best disposal getter from the other team just rack it up. Last week, as you said, 3 of the top 5. They had top disposal getters. The week before, you had the 3 of the top 4. The week before, same sort of thing. And that story filters on, and everyone seems to get personal bests or highs again. So I've gone Connor Rosie to get 25 or more. He's on fire lately. Last couple of weeks, he's had 29, 26. He had a 20, a 28, 19 and 23. So he's missed it 3 times, but coming against the Saints that give away the pill, he's going to get that. And the other one I like, Pez, is your man, Owens, down forward. I've got him to get... Machito. Yeah, sounds... Machito. Anyway, so I've got Mitch Owens to get 2 or more goals. He's done that in all bar 1 game, or all bar 2 games. He averages 3 shots per game. But what I like about it is Port's backline, their tall defenders are in a little bit of strife. They haven't really been matching up that well. So Tom Jonas and Alia, they really struggle against the big forwards. They've got Membry who came back last week. He stands as number 1 probably forward there. And, Owens, he stands at 193, so they're going to struggle with him, Pez. That forward line, he averages 3 shots per game. The Port forward line, giving away to tall forwards, 4 shots on goal for tall forwards per game. I love the odds of that. 2 units, $3.10 with Sportsbet.
310. Yep.
310.
Take that with the
$1.57 for Rosie, and your man's about $2 on his own.
Could be a big start to the
it will
season.
Be a big start.
To season with this one tomorrow night. Very exciting. I'm heading into Marvel tomorrow night as well. So
taking the family?
It'll be good. No.
Okay. All right, well, enjoy the footy. Jeez. You could not have been quicker on the no then. No.
The 1-year-old will be asleep, mate, by that time before the game even starts. What are you talking about?
Jesus. Brisbane taking on Fremantle to start our Saturday afternoon. 114 favourites are the Lions. 550 outsiders the Dockers. Minus 34.5 is the line. Over under 174.5. Pez. It's a pretty straightforward round this round, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. Lions get the job done?
Yeah, they have to get the job done here against Fremantle. It would be very, very surprising if they didn't. They played really well at the Gabba this year, beating both Melbourne and Collingwood, who are premiership contenders. I really like some of the ins and outs as well. Darragh Joyce has been omitted. I think he's been struggling and a bit of a liability down back for Brisbane Lions. So Ryan Lester gets another chance in the best 22 here. So hopefully he can get the job done back there. Jared Lyons, he was a really good player. He's been the sub the last couple of weeks there, Sauce as well. So we'll see there. Fremantle are trying lots of different things here. They're bringing Switkowski back, who's good player up forward. So hopefully they can actually do something for the Fremantle fans there. And we know we've got a lot of listeners over in Western Australia. But my bet here, I've gone to Tab, and for the rest of my bets, Sauce, I've gone to Tab because they've got the same game multi-special for every game. I've gone pick your own line, Brisbane minus 12.5. I've gone the over 148.5 because, as I said before, Fremantle's defense, it hasn't looked likely. Brisbane, can score heavily. So 148.5 looks like it'll hit. Now, I've gone Neil, and I've gone on him again, even though we lost last week, but only to get 20 plus here. He's 2 out of 2 at the Gabba this year. So he's had 22 and 27 in both games at the Gabba. He likes the Gabba, so 20 plus is good.
Likes the Gabba.
Brayshaw, 20 plus. Last 3 v the Lions, he's had 39, 25 and 28. So they've kind of let him go loose a little bit. He's missed once this season, but that game was at Norwood on the narrow ground against the Gold Coast. So Brayshaw for 20 plus and Ashcroft for 20 plus. So not for 15. Bumped him up to 20. 2 out of 2 at the Gabba this year, Sauce. 31 and 26. Loves it in the middle. Loves a contested footy. And my man Ashcroft, hopefully he can get that done. Those, 5 legs together, $2.50. 2 of them miss out, I'll get a bonus back there.
A little bit of double insurance, and it's not going to fail because you've got your man Ashcroft in there. Those long locks going through that midfield, clean user of the footy.
Get him going. Just that little handball out of a stoppage. I just love it.
Love it, Pez. And speaking of getting going, one player from the Brisbane forward line that's really got it going over the last 3 weeks is Cameron. Is he not on fire? 17 in the last 3 games he's kicked. 17 goals in the last 3 games.
The last 3?
Absolutely unbelievable.
How's last week? What did he kick his 7th goal and he's going to the crowd and he's counting on his fingers? I was like,
take his shoes off, get them out.
That's a great celebration.
Absolutely amazing, Pez. But I like him, especially after we spoke earlier about Fremantle's defence issues and the amount of easy footy they give away in there. Someone who's as goal hungry as him, who's kicked goals in the last couple of rounds at 7-6 and 7-6 and 3. He's absolutely loving the forward line. Fremantle in a really tough spot, coming back, obviously a loss from Perth at home, travelling over there. I love Brisbane in this one, but I love Cameron to kick 3 or more goals, Pez. $2.40 with my 2-unit bonus bet on that one.
Oh, the bonus. Get the bonus there on plus $2 odds.
We'll be on Goal Watch this week, Pez.
I'll get it back.
That's where my bonuses are going, just Goal Watch. All right, speaking of Goal Watch, we'll talk about Sydney and GWS coming into our afternoon time slot on Saturday. 126 favourite are the Swans, 375 outsiders are the Giants. Minus 22.5 is the line, and the over-under 149.5. Pez, Battle of the Bridge. Any battle, really, or is it going to be any challenge?
Well, the challenge is Sydney's mental state because absolute flogging down in Geelong last week, 90-plus points.
I think they just thought they were watching the grand final replay.
That hurts, especially that it was a grand final rematch as well. But Lance Franklin comes back in, and people have said he might not be in their best 22, but I think he's important for their structure there. Tom McCartan also coming back in, with Robbie Fox going out with an injury, which I think will help the Sydney Swans. Tom Green does come back in for...
we hate Robbie Fox, don't we? I forgot about that reference. That's an old reference for listeners. Robbie Fox is... Jesus.
Nothing against the bloke, but I just don't trust
any opportunity,
him.
You were like, that's a great decision. He wasn't playing last week, they win by 60.
I don't trust him, but Tom Green coming in. So if you're looking at GWS disposals for anything and you're looking at midfielders for markets, Tom Green will take disposals off some of the players that were in there last week. I've just gone pretty simple. Pick your own line. Sydney minus 8.5. I think they need to bounce back against GWS here. Jesse Hogan, anytime goal scorer. He's registered a score in every game, and he's only missed to kick a goal in 1 game and 2+ in every other game. Sauce. So he's had opportunities there. His marking's been looking really good. So if he stays at home and stays forward against Sydney, he's going to get an opportunity to kick a goal, and I hope he kicks straight. And then I've gone Tom Papley, the best celebrator in the business. We spoke about Charlie Cameron, but he just loves running at the crowd and celebrating. Anytime goal scorer has hit in his last 18 games that he's played. Yeah. He's kicked a goal. So this season he's had a minimum of 2 scoring shots per game. So I'm going to put those 3 together. It's $2 odds, and I'll try and take that one and see how we go.
He's one of the best celebrators in the game. If your bet gets up, what celebrator are you rocking? You're rocking the finger wag. You're running the 2 hands, the double python, the cobras.
Depends what time this one is. What time's?
How many beers are you down?
Yeah, what time's this one? 2:10. It'll be early, so I might just be.
It might just be 6 of those little hand grenades down that you pulled out earlier, Pez. So
running around the lounge room.
Running around the lounge room. Get a finger wave in there, surely. I've got no bet in this one, Pez. I'll probably look for a live bet once I see what the weather's going to be doing. I am a little bit cautious of Sydney and their injuries, but speaking of injuries, GWS have just as many. The inclusion of Tom Green helps out that midfield, but other than that, it's a steer clear for me, Pez. All right, let's get into the next game. Western Bulldogs taking on Hawthorn. $1.19 favourites are the Doggies. Hawthorn outsiders $4.40. Minus 28.5 is the line. over under 163.5. Pez, the Bulldogs looked really good last week, and I think they've turned a little bit of a corner since they played Richmond, and after they got absolutely piled on, they stopped that streak of 4 goals being kicked on them per quarter for the year, which was a pretty big streak of over 23 games. They get the job done against Hawthorn because Hawthorn don't want to win. Great. That's probably the best result for Hawthorn 2 weeks in a row. Leading the whole game, good. Their young players
They've done
develop.
It
they pulled their captain out, sits on the bench for the last 5. Great captain's goal. That's the equivalent of the captain's goal.
You know what they've done though? They've disappointed the supporters because the supporters want to win, but they've made the topper and the CEO and all that. They've made them very happy because they're like, oh, everyone's still watching the game, and then we just lose by a goal, so we're not that shit.
A goal assist to Harley Reid next year, and he's drafted number 1. There we go.
We'll take him. Speaking about ins and outs, Tom Liberatore with an injury, so he's out. But Bailey Smith comes back in, so not like for like, but a quality player for a quality player. Mitch Lewis comes back into that Hawthorn forward line, as well as Will Day from the injury as well. So he's back as well. So that will make some good viewing there. I don't like Libba out of the midfield for the Bulldogs, but
he's been great.
It'll really free up some of the disposals for some of these other dogs, especially against the Hawthorn Hawks there. So I've just gone a little bit risky actually, but Bulldogs versus Hawthorn. I've gone the Bulldogs minus 12.5, over 134.5. I think there's plenty of opportunities to score against Hawthorn, and the reason I'm saying that is because Jamari Ugle-Hagan, got him down for 2+.
Oh, you love him.
Shots on goal. He really impressed me with his hands last week. I know he was left 15 metres out, but he really did. And he's had scoring shots in every single game and 2 or more scores 5 out of 6 times. So not including goals. He's only kicked goals in 2 games, 5 goals and the 1 goal. But I think he can get a couple of shots against Hawthorn. I think Hawthorn will go to Norton a little bit, and Jamara Ugle-Hagan might come and get a couple of marks inside 50 and have a chance to kick 2.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying with Libba out. The disposals will get up there. I actually don't mind your Ugle-Hagan bet there of getting a couple of snags in there, especially against Hawthorn, who have really struggled to look. Actually, no, they've done really well there because they've looked like they're trying to win. That's really good. I'll be looking at some disposal markets on the Saturday. I finished work a little bit late and haven't had a proper dive into this game, but obviously you'd be looking at McRae, Bontempelli, Treloar, Caleb Daniel. Maybe they'll play him out back and he'll get another 20.
Let's see how he goes.
See how he goes, but that's where I'll be playing my money, but it'll be a live bet, so we'll watch over Twitter on the weekend.
Yeah, JJ for 15, something like that, depending on what he's paying.
Yeah, something like that. All right, we get on to Melbourne taking on North Melbourne. This is the biggest margin of odds for the round. $1.08 favourites are the D's, $7.50 outsiders North Melbourne, minus 44.5 is the line, 172 over under. This is a closed shut case, isn't it, Pez? Melbourne takes this one pretty easy.
You'd think so, especially down at $1.08. But they did lose to Essendon over in Adelaide. So Melbourne have done some strange things before. Josh Saki comes back into the side, which is surprising. We thought his career might be over. So maybe injuries have caused that because there's no Ben Brown, there's no Tom McDonald, there's no Harrison Petty. So maybe he's just, forced to play a game. But they've still got quality there. So Petrarca, because he picked it up forward, Bailey Fritsch. So there might be a good opportunity for a bag this week. So if you're looking at something, it might be North Melbourne leaking some goals at the MCG. But no bet for me at the moment.
Yeah, no bet for me either, Pez. North Melbourne are no good, so it makes it really tough. And Melbourne have been a little bit slow starting, a little bit inconsistent. You probably can get some value for first quarter line, but again, it's North Melbourne, so you never know what's going to happen. The D's will like playing at the G. They'll enjoy that. They're very, very successful there. I'd be looking at 2 or more goals probably for Van Ruin, the Rook. Pez, $1.77. He looks like that missing piece last week in that fourth quarter, just before they were about to sub him off.
He's exactly like what he did in that fourth quarter is exactly what Melbourne need.
That's exactly
what they've been missing, because his overhead marking was next level, and it was pretty elite there.
I reckon that they'll try and use him to really set up that faith in that structure, because you're right, that's exactly what they needed. They'll fill his pockets a little bit. Look for him for 2 or 3.
Yeah, even Max Gawn, he's been playing a little bit down there, and I think he was $1.20 I saw earlier today for just 1 goal. So he can be a little bit of value as well because he sneaks down there and can take an overhead mark. Just his goal kicking is the actual issue.
Yeah, that is definitely the issue, Pez. While we get on to West Coast taking on Carlton, 470 outsiders are the Eagles. Struggling Carlton, $1.18. Unusual that they're not a little bit shorter, Pez. Minus 31.5, Pez. This line has absolutely leaked out something chronic. Over under 172.5, Pez. I spoke to you earlier about this and I looked earlier at the line and it has continued to leak. I think we saw it earlier today at 27.5. It's now at 31. Surely this leaks further and further and further.
Yeah, it might have to. Shannon Hearn's come in to try and shore up the defence a little bit. You know, they can't get their senior players on the park because Shuey comes in and then now he's out injured again. Some big ins for Carlton. You got Adam Sard and Sam Doherty coming back in. Jesse Motlop's suspended, and I think that might be a good thing for Carlton there. They're not picking De Koning, which is really, really surprising, and they're leaving him in Melbourne to play in the VFL.
It's an odd thing, Pez, especially when you've got a player
out of contract
player who's priming to obviously get a big contract. He's probably one of the biggest free agents coming across into the warmer months, Pez. But I don't understand it unless he's still lingering a little bit of an injury. He's pulled up sore maybe. But
are you going to risk him in the VFL? Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like it makes no sense if they're saying they're just resting him a week and they're not playing the VFL. I love that. You know, another week under the belt, but. It'll be interesting to see monitor his minutes in the VFL, Pez.
Yeah, and see what happens there. I think this is a really big bounce back spot here for Carlton. That surely they need to be hungry. So I've just gone really, really simple. And Carlton 40 plus. It's sitting at $2.35. So I'll take them 40 plus, but I'll put a little bit of insurance on there with Tab because I'll put Carlton ML in there. And I'll also put Carlton pick your own line plus 4.5. So if Carlton win but not by 40 plus, I will get a bonus back. But just Carlton 40 plus, there'll be plenty of chances for goals. I really like Durden up forward to sneak a goal. Haven't looked at his odds.
He looks really good at 157. He looks really good. He just kicks one in every game.
He gets in the right spots and just love watching him play. So, Carlton 40 plus. Let's see if they can get it done away from home.
We said earlier in the year, Pez, Sydney 30 plus, minus 30.5 against West Coast is a great line. And we actually said there and then anytime you can get anyone playing West Coast with a line under 30, you hit it and hit it hard. And I've done that exactly, Pez. We spoke earlier in the show, or literally like 5 seconds ago, that was 27.5. When I jumped on Pez, it was 28.5. So I've jumped on a 3-leg same game multi with Ned's multi-saver, the little special thing you can get for once that, but you can get that same sort of value on Lads or Tab with those, the 3-leg same game multis. I've gone minus 28.5. I've gone Cherry to get 20 plus. He'll absolutely have an absolute field day. I think it was $1.10 to get 20. And I've gone Oscar Allen, Pez. 2 or more goals. He's kicked in every single game this year. He's their only forward presence. They're looking for him every time down the court, down the field, and De Koning out means that they've got a lesser backman out there. I mean, still probably an All-Australian backman, but I like the big fella, the big O. I have gone 1 unit, 432, 1 leg fails, money back.
Yeah, and you speak about 432, and I just want to let the punters know, why that goes up so much is because you've got the Carlton line, so you're saying Carlton's going to smash them, but you've also got a opposition player to kick 2 plus goals. So that's where the odds can multiply on top of each other a little bit more.
One thing West Coast have done, despite them continually getting smashed every week, the thing where they're getting smashed is their defense. They've got no defense whatsoever. The offense, when they get the ball and move the forward with Tim Kelly in there, their forward presence isn't too bad. It's just they can't stop anyone. So they've got no players there, but you are correct. That's why it is so high. All right, we get on to the country clash, Pez, the Essendon versus...
if you didn't say that, I would not have known.
Yeah, that's what it's called, the country clash.
I remember now.
Essendon versus Geelong. And for the first year in a long time, Pez, it's one game's going to be played in Melbourne and the other game's actually going to be played in the country in Geelong. The last 5 years, they've all been played in Melbourne, both the games. But anyway...
that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all. Essendon versus Geelong, 287. Outsiders are Essendon after their moral victory, I guess, for taking it up to Collingwood for 3 quarters. $1.42 favourites are the Catters. Minus 16.5 is the line. Over under 172.5 Pez. Essendon, we spoke about them having, they played quite well against Collingwood. They come up against an Geelong team who started to find some form. Can they duplicate what they've done earlier in the year and bounce back with a win?
Yeah, well, this is a tough one to try and bet on Thursday night. Really tough one to try and bet on at the moment. Essendon have been impressive when they played in Adelaide Sauce. They were defending Melbourne really well, And then they defended Collingwood really well for maybe 2 quarters that they were playing against them. So we'll see how they can structure up. They get Merritt back in the side by the looks of things as well. Geelong, they just got the star power. What are they sitting 3-3 after their horrible start to the season? So it's actually really important if they've actually turned their season around here to get this one under their belt and to bring Essendon back down a peg. So I'll definitely be tipping the Cats in this one, but I don't think I'll even have a bet even come Sunday morning.
Yeah, I think it's a really good spot for the Cats. They come off a pretty bruise-free sort of game of footy on the Saturday night. They come up against an Essendon on a 5-day break. They're a pretty fast-paced game for 3 quarters. And then, if you don't want the game to be fast in the fourth, you want it to be physical if you're the opposing side. And that fourth quarter was extremely physical. There would be probably some mental giants coming across from that one. I think Geelong win this one pretty easy. 16.5 is a great line. I'm just going with 4+ Pez for you-know-who, my man Jeremy Cameron. He's on pace for 100 this year. He's
1.25?
No, we're not 1.25 because I've got my bonus bet. So I'm putting a bonus bet on that one. I might look to play 1.25 in that for probably the 850 odds. But I put my 2-unit bonus bet, Pez, him to kick 4+, $2.60. It's not great odds, but it's good to cheer for Pez because he's averaging 4+ a game. If he continues that up and we include the first week of finals, Pez, he kicks 100. So I'm cheering for that.
He gets a ball anywhere inside the forward 50.
Oh,
the
best
he's
thing
got
is,
a good chance at it.
The best thing about watching him is he sits there and he's like, I'm getting a bit bored here. Runs up the boom, connect. And then he somehow gets down there and kicks a snag, does the old beer celebration, loving life. But he's great to watch, and he's easily the best player in the game at the moment. Sneaky for a Brownlow?
Oh, not at the moment.
Okay, cool, good chat.
No. They would have to win a shit ton of games. They'd have to finish top 4, and he would have to kick 4+ in a lot of games.
If he's kicking 4+ a game, like at the moment, you'd probably say he's got 3, 6, maybe he's got 8 votes. Let's say 8 votes from the opening 6. It's not enough, is it? Yeah, not even close. I'll shut up. All right, get on to Richmond taking on Gold Coast, Pez. The Tigers, both teams in desperate need for a win. Gold Coast snuck one away last week against North, but Richmond, with all their recruits, are not performing at all. So $1.38 favourites are the Tigs, $3.05 outsiders the Gold Coast Suns, -7.5 is the line, over under 170.5. Pez, Tigers, what's going on?
It's personnel. Realistically, I think if they've had a full list available this year, they would have won a few more games. They would have probably beaten Melbourne last week. They would have beaten the Bulldogs and a couple of others. But when they haven't been on, they've just leaked goals and just had patches of footy which have been absolutely terrible, and then they show patches of footy where they look absolutely awesome. And when Shea Bolton's coming out of the middle, Rioli's putting on a clinic with his kicking from down back, and Rewalt is looking like his younger self, kicking goals everywhere. But no Prestia this week. They're playing at Marvel, which they've openly said that they hate, but it is against the Gold Coast Suns. So I'm going to think that Richmond somehow will get this win fairly easily, but I just can't trust Richmond at the moment with their personnel that they've got. I think Tom Lynch is a key to them being a decent footy side, and with him out, there's too much a load on everyone else, and they can't put not only 4 quarters of footy together, Sauce. They can't seem to put 15 minutes of good footy together.
Yeah,
so
it's concerning.
We'll see and have a market watch on that for Sunday.
It is concerning, but what's more concerning is that Took Miller went out and they reckon he's out for another 12 weeks, Pez, and that's pretty much the Gold Coast Suns' season goodbye. And they haven't been able to put quarters together, Richmond, but there's a lot of things going against them in this, and their backs are a little bit against the wall, so they're trying to make it out like, we hate Marvel, we're not putting it together, the wins, whatever, injuries. I reckon they bounce back here, Pez. $1.38 is pretty good money for Richmond in Melbourne. And what I've done, Pez, is I've paired it up 2 leg same game multi with Neds. Not 2 leg same game multi. I've gone just 2 legs with sports bets. I'm not going for any insurance here. What I like with Took Miller out, look for our man, Brandon Fiorani. 15 or more, $1.53. I reckon he sneaks into that midfield and gets a little bit more of the pill, Pez. I like him for 20 disposals. Head-to-head Richmond, I've gone those 2 legs, $2.05, just 1 unit, Pez.
So for 20 or 15?
20, I said 15, but 15 he's sitting $1.09.
Yep.
But I reckon he stretches out into that 20 mark, Pez. I just not on any stats or anything, just on a feeling. And Took Miller coming in, he's getting 15 or more every week, sort of thing. I reckon he spreads out and gets that. So I think he takes some of the load.
Yeah, I think Took Miller, Gold Coast's second most important player. behind Jared Witts, who came back last week. So Jared Witts and Took Miller, if they don't have one of them, they will struggle to get the job done. So we'll tip the Tigers and we'll see what happens on Sunday.
All right, let's get on to the last game at the Sunday clash. Pez, Adelaide Oval. Adelaide taking on the Magpies. 239 favourites. Outsiders are the Crows. 158 favourites. The Pies -9.5. Over under 170 1.5. Pez. I'm really excited about this game. I think the Sunday night time slot is a great fixture. It's going to be at a reasonable time, not Perth bloody time at 9 o'clock at night or whatever it is. Really looking forward to this one.
That was hard on Friday night, huh? Game starting at 8:10.
We had to talk to each other for an hour in between dinner and beers. It was very frustrating.
It was horrible, that little hour. It was just...
we didn't know what to do. We actually were like...
We've already put our bets on.
We'd already caught up all day as well, so it was like, so what do we talk about now?
No, that's shit house. Nathan Murphy and Taylor Adams come back in, which will strengthen Collingwood. They've escaped last week, and they're sitting in a good spot on the ladder. And Adelaide have a lot to prove because I think Collingwood is one of the premiership favourites of the year. They've got the hardest job of trying to bat away opponents each week, and Adelaide have a lot to prove. They've had 4 wins. They escaped last week against Hawthorn because they nearly cost themselves that. But a lot of people are talking about them as a top 4 contender, and what better way to do it than to come up against Collingwood at your home deck and see if you can grab the win. But I still don't rate Adelaide. If they do beat Collingwood here, they may go up in my book, but they are a finals contender, but not a top 4 contender for mine. No bet from me.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying watching Adelaide play. Their fast-paced game of footy that they're playing. They're young. They're exciting.
Some of the players,
their forward line's very good to watch.
Shelley,
anytime the ball goes in there, they look like they're a threat to score. I think that they're hitting Collingwood in the perfect spot. We just spoke about Essendon's 5-day break. This is Collingwood's 5-day break, and they're travelling. So they're travelling to Adelaide as well. Travelling side coming off a 5-day break, they only win 36% of the time, Pez. So it's 36% of the time a travelling team with a 5-day break. It's not huge in terms of the regular stats discrepancy. That's up about 48%, but you take a 12% hit in any of those sort of stats, you're loving that. I've just gone with Adelaide head-to-head, blue bet, 235, up at halftime by 12 points or more, pays out. What I like about it, Pez, is that Adelaide have won 4 of their first halves this year. They're travelling home. They're up and about. We saw what they did against Carlton in the first quarter. They are a first half sort of team. And what do Collingwood like to do, Pez? They like to come from behind. They like to leave. That's an odd thing to be saying on this podcast, Pez. They like to, as you said, would you rather be 10 points up or 34 points up against Collingwood? Either way, you're down, right? So that's the thing, is I think that Collingwood will come from behind. They possibly will snag this one. It'll be a close game, but I think Adelaide can get the job done with everything else there. They've got some old legs, Collingwood. I wouldn't be surprised if they rest Pendlebury, after that head injury, so that eye injury, he's going to be travelling back, 5-day break, 35-year-old, you may just sit him on the bench. That puts a big hole in their structure. So head-to-head, I've gone 235, 1 unit with Bluebet.
Now, are you telling me I'm banned from the promotions of Bluebet now?
Why?
So I don't have it.
Oh, well,
I looked at it earlier today for the 12 plus.
My phone's over there, but I definitely have it because I have the screenshot of it. So
bloody spewing.
Yeah,
I was hoping they brought that back, and it's not in there for me. I just checked live here, and they've got the NRL one there +6, but not the AFL one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think I can check on my. Oh, maybe I can check here and see if it's on mine just to make sure. Yep, 6 points up. Stat Wars, multi-bonus, AFL bonus. Or hang on. Please don't tell me they've taken it away after I put it on. No. Oh, this is thrilling podcasting, Pez.
Why do you always do this to me, Sauce?
Oh, it looks like they've taken it away. Last minute. I put this on earlier today and I had a screenshot of it. But anyway, Pez, I'm going to let it ride. Hopefully it comes back because they've still got the NRL 6 points up. Get paid out at halftime, so maybe it's just
bring it out tomorrow.
Maybe they bring it out tomorrow. If not, I will probably readjust that bet, Pez. If it's not, because I don't trust them that much, I might adjust that and jump on the line. But let's edit that part out.
Great job on the podcast, and that ends round 7 as well.
It
so
does.
That's awesome.
Have you got any cheekies, Pez?
Cheeky.
Yeah, just put all mine together and it'll be something.
Lazy.
No, I do because I've got a bonus bet.
Yes.
And I've decided to go cheeky with it this week.
Cheeky!
And it's called my Saturday Special 25 plus bet.
Ooh.
And what that means is I'm going all 5 games and I'm tipping the 5 teams that I'm tipping to win by 25 or more points. Sauce. So Brisbane 25 plus, Sydney 25 plus, Bulldogs 25 plus, Melbourne 25 plus, Carlton 25 plus. All up, that's $10.11. So very cheeky. And I'll chuck my bonus on that from last week.
I thought you would have gone 25 plus disposals. I thought I was ready to have my checklist out and get it all done, but
we don't have enough time for that here, Sauce. So nice and simple. All 5 teams to win by 25
yeah,
plus.
well, I like that. Nice and simple, Pez. I've just gone 4 legs, a multi. I've gone the Blues, the Dogs, the Swans, and the Cats. 2 units, 263 with blue bet. 1 leg fails across those 4 games. Money back in a bonus bet. I just clarified that one, Pez. I'm not making that mistake twice. But yeah, that's it for the round, Pez. It's going to be hopefully it's going to be an exciting round of football, but hopefully there's no upsets because it seems like a pretty stock standard sort of round.
Yeah, well, especially on the Saturday stock standard. So, it's unlikely that all of those teams will win by 25 plus because we know it's AFL footy and upsets happen all the time. But we'll just wait and see. Hopefully, if you're punting this weekend, you have a bit of luck and you ride that along and you can win yourself a bit of coin.
Exactly right, Pez. Make sure you jump on our socials, Pez, at Behind the Bound on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. Jump on all of your good podcast providers. Leave us a 5-star review. Leave a comment in the comment section. Helps other people find the quality podcast that we can, we provide.
Nearly to 2K on TikTok as well. So hopefully
Very
hit
good.
that this weekend as well, Sauce. So best of luck with your punting. Have a look at the shirt.
Have a look at the shirt, and
little
if you
Pez,
want to get one of these, just jump on and we'll provide the details for that one. Maybe get some orders going for your ugly mug
people
on
can
a
buy
shirt.
it. People can buy it.
Yeah,
can't
let's
they?
set
Is that what you said?
something up. I'll set something up for that. We can get that going.
You beauty. All right, I'm Pez. Enjoy round 7 of AFL footy. Peace out.
Yeah, so you're going to pay for yours with your winnings, or no, you're out. Well, I'm still Sauce. We'll catch up next time, guys. Enjoy your weekend punting.
Now you're gone.